In this episode, I lift up a German monk and an English journalist, each of whom has something to teach us about the seasons of Advent and Thanksgiving. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. Pastor Tim Westermeyer here, Senior Pastor of St. Philip the Deacon in the western suburbs of Minneapolis. Good to be with you as always. We are taping this in the late part of November, just after celebrating the last weekend of the church year. I talked a little about that, I think, in my sermon this past weekend. We may link to that. That means we are now looking ahead to the start of a new church year, which begins with the first Sunday of Advent this coming weekend. That's Sunday, November 27th. So in this episode, I want to do a couple things. One, I want to lift up the fact that we are once again going to be doing daily Advent devotions online here at St. Philip the Deacon. You can find those on our YouTube channel starting on Sunday, November 27th. The St. Philip the Deacon YouTube channel is at SPDLC. That's for St. Philip Deacon Lutheran Church. And as a little teaser for it, those devotions, daily devotions, we typically find a book that we can sort of walk through the season of Advent or Lent, depending on the time of year. The one we're using this year is called Your Light Gives Us Hope, 24 Daily Practices for Advent, and it's by a German Benedictine monk, maybe not so well known in the United States. His name is Anselm Grün. He's been a Benedictine monk since the 1960s. He's quite well known in Germany. This particular book was originally written in 2015 in German, translated to English in 2017. He has also written 300 books, sold more than 15 million copies that have been translated into 30 languages. And again, he's a Benedictine monk, so for those of you who live in the Twin Cities, another connection you might make is to St. John's University. That's also a Benedictine abbey, a very famous one actually here in the United States. And in the narthex of St. Philip the Deacon, this congregation, we actually have 5 prints from the very famous St. John's Bible that was created by St. John's Abbey. So all of that by way of making sort of a local connection to a gentleman who lives in Germany and serves as the cellarer or the CFO of his own monastery. So each day, there'll be a reflection from this book, as well as a daily faith practice, and we'll conclude each of those devotions with a short prayer. So we hope you join us on that daily journey during Advent. It's a sort of nice way to pause at the beginning of each day, or I suppose at the end of the day, or in the middle of the day for that matter, whenever you want to watch it, as we make our way through this season of renewal and repentance and rebirth and anticipate the birth of Jesus again at Christmas. So join us for that. That's one thing I want to say. The other thing is, of course, between the last Sunday of the church year and the first Sunday of the church year, here in the United States at least, we are celebrating Thanksgiving. And so I just want to say a couple of things about that, and one quote which actually connects what I was just talking about for Advent, using the reflections of a Benedictine monk, is another Benedictine monk, David Stendhal Rast. This is a wonderful reminder. This comes from another book. I did a course using this book earlier this year, The Walk, by a pastor named Adam Hamilton. And he quotes Brother David Stendhal Rast saying this: "It's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy." So that's the quote. And then Pastor Hamilton goes on to say, "This statement hints at the enormous power that gratitude offers for our lives. We're not called to give thanks because everything in our lives is going wonderfully. We're called to give thanks because our life itself is a wonderful gift from God." And then I will lift up another of my favorite authors. This is G.K. Chesterton from his autobiography. He has a number of quotes actually about gratitude and gratefulness, but this one is maybe particularly apt. Towards the end of this, again, this is his autobiography, he says, everything he learned about Christianity affected one idea of his life, which he says might be called the chief idea of my life. This is the idea of taking things with gratitude and not taking things for granted. So, if I could just pause for a moment to offer my gratitude for a number of things in my life. I want to say thanks to my wife, Amy. We've been married 30 years, and I'm so grateful to her for the life we've created. I want to say thank you to our wonderful children, each of whom I'm so grateful for and so proud of as they have grown. I want to say thankful for the calling that God has given me to be a pastor. We've talked about this in other places, but I spent the first decade of my life doing another kind of work, which was wonderful in its own way, but boy, do I love the work that God has called me to do. I'm profoundly grateful for that. I'm partially grateful for it because of all the wonderful staff and colleagues that God has surrounded me with here at St. Philip the Deacon, so thanks to each of them. And thanks for this community, St. Philip the Deacon, and all of its amazing members. It is truly a place that is able to shine the light of Christ back into the world and share God's love with the world in need. And what an incredible privilege it is to be able to walk alongside all the amazing members of this incredible congregation as we follow where God is leading us into the future. And then finally, to those of you who I've gotten to know through this channel, which I sort of continue to think of as an experiment in my own ministry, what a joy it has been to connect with people from all over the world as we are on this adventure in this place together. So to each of you who have been engaged with me, who have connected with me, who've written to me, who've commented, who've liked and subscribed and all the things you do on YouTube and Instagram, it's truly, thank you. It has been a joy to connect with you and to get to know you. So as we approach, again, Thanksgiving here in the States, might I encourage each of you to just pause after you listen to this, consider what you take for granted in your own life, perhaps, which is something we all do. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just trying to make us conscious of that. And pause and give thanks for it. Offer up a prayer of gratitude to God for all of the blessings in your life, maybe this week particularly. And as always, I do give thanks for you being with me today. And until next time, be well, stay in touch, and God bless.